All right, we are live. We are here after the third week of doing our walking challenge. How are you doing? I know you had a crazy week.
Yeah, things didn't go to plan, but I guess, life happens, doesn't it? And you just have to adjust. But had a good week. Just crazy as crazy.
Crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, I know. I'll give you in a minute. We'll share what happened, but give a few people a chance to get on here with us. You want to just quickly, for anyone who's new, introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself. And
Yeah, I'm Lindy and I'm 53 years old and mother of two from Melbourne. And I started my carnivore journey 2.5 years ago, and I was plus or minus 800 pounds, and I'm now down to about 260 pounds. So I've kind of been hovering on this weight for a little while. But they tell me in winter that you kind of hibernate like a bear, and so things are really stable. But I think composition changes are still happening, just the scales are not moving at the moment. But that's okay. I still
yeah,
feel fantastic. Kicking goals with my carnivore, and join the lovely Lynn to do a bit of a fitness challenge and try and strengthen my bones and strengthen my muscles and get a little bit of extra movement in. So absolutely loving these challenges. So that's a little bit about me. How about you, Lynn?
excellent. Hi, Sue. So my name is Lynn. I'm 56-year-old, mother of three, grandmother of three, and I have been doing the carnivore diet since end of May of 2023. So it's been 14 months, and went into it primarily for mast cell activation syndrome. I was totally disabled, had to retire from nursing, but I was also about 350 pounds at my highest. And so I've lost over a little over 100 pounds. And my mast cell disease is, I feel as though it is very, very stable now, because I was reacting with throat swelling, anaphylactic type reactions to all sorts of things. So this has been a life changer for me. But like you, fitness is something that it was never even it could not be in my radar before.
No.
And it just wasn't feasible. It wasn't safe. And I didn't have any tolerance for it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited that we're actually able to team up and work on this at our pace. And
Yeah, we're escalating our carnivore journey, our diet journey, because back in the day we couldn't do the exercise. We didn't want to because we were in so much pain or had reactions, whatever the case. My mobility was pretty bad, but now we just want to do it, don't we? We have that drive to
yeah,
want to move more and absolutely loving it because we're feeling better. And carnivore's given us that boost. Yeah,
yeah.
giving us our lives
And I,
back.
do you ever have people ask you, like, okay, you lost over like 500 pounds. Do you ever have people ask you, so did you exercise?
Oh, all the
Did you?
time. And no, I never exercised. I couldn't. I physically could barely
Right.
walk up and down the hallway. I walked from chair to chair because I couldn't hold my weight for more than 20 seconds. I was just too heavy for my feet. I was on borderline of being bedbound. So there's no way you could get me to exercise because I was in pain. I had so much fluid in my legs. My joints were aching. So carnivore diet was basically how I removed most of the inflammation and the weight. A lot of it was water weight, and that's, I think, where the joint pain and stuff came from. But it was all carnivore. And the exercise, it's only happened in the last few months that I've actually started. Yeah, just gradually sort of moving a bit more around the house. And now with these challenges, I'm sort of ramping it up a little bit more because I feel great and I want to do it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. And I was the same, not to the extent that you were, as far as how long it took me to be able to do some exercise.
Yeah.
Um, for me, maybe about 5 months into it, I had lost enough weight and I was getting to the point where I was wanting to exercise. And, exercise intolerance, as I've mentioned before, comes with mast cell activation syndrome. And so and I do have a video on my channel that I posted fairly early on in my journey about my exercise phobia. I mean, I actually developed an exercise phobia, and there was many factors that went into that, going back from childhood. But the more adult piece of that was my exercise intolerance from my mast cell disease. And when you exercise and then you end up with a relapse, it causes a relapse in your symptoms. Their fear develops, right?
Yes.
Because it would be kind of equivalent to, like, okay, every time you exercise, you fall, right? So you're going to be afraid
Yeah.
because you don't want to fall. And it was the same thing with me with this. It would cause a relapse in my symptoms, and I'd end up, like, it would set me back sometimes for a week if I tried to exercise.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the phobia I've had to, it's not just been a physical challenge, but it's been a psychological challenge to overcome for me.
Yeah, and I've come from an extreme weight, and a lot earlier I did try to jump on the treadmill and try and do a bit of walking, and my coaches would say, "No, don't, Lindy. Just take it easy, just concentrate on the diet." And I'm like, "No, no, no, I have to exercise." And I jump on, and I do a few minutes. My feet would go numb; they'd actually go to sleep while I was walking because I had so much fluid in my legs. And then I couldn't walk for 3 or 4 days afterward. My hip was hurting. So mentally, I felt like I wanted to go, like I was feeling good, but my body just wasn't ready for it yet. And so it was almost sabotaging me. By jumping on that would actually put me, 3 steps back, because then I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything for 3 or 4 days
Right.
until I got rid of that pain. But now I'm in a position where I'm listening to my body. If I want to do it, I slow down if it starts to hurt, and I still try to push myself a little bit, but I don't go overboard enough to
Yeah.
hurt myself.
So you are
So
mentally ready, but not physically ready.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And still now, like I just feel like I want to go for a nice hike or do something really cool. And yeah, if there's not seats along the way, I start to get a little bit dizzy, or little things happen. So I have to really pace myself and be a little bit
Right.
kind to myself still. I'm not quite there yet physically.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I know when I first started going for walks, I tried to go just around my block, which is
Mm,
probably about a quarter of a mile. Um, and I mean, here in Washington, where I live, nothing is flat. So and it's not like it's super steep hills, but everything practically is on an incline. And so, I'd have to strategically figure out, okay, what can I do, and how much. The hills were hard. They were, and it wasn't like, it was maybe 5-10 degree incline. It wasn't a lot, but I was limping, and I remember I would stagger. Like, I couldn't even walk in a straight line because my balance was so bad, and I was
yes.
dizzy, and I had knee pain and hip pain and back pain. And so, and sometimes if I stepped wrong, I would just tweak my knee. It was a mess at the beginning.
Yeah.
And
And what are
yeah,
your pavements like? Are they fairly straight? Because ours are a little bit wonky. There's a lot of trees that grow and uproot the pavement. So
there
it's
are,
really easy to trip.
yeah, you have to watch. There, most of them are pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
occasionally you'll come up one where a tree root has kind of raised a section of it a little bit. You got to be careful, but in general, at least with my around my block, it's pretty flat. But I do have to watch myself because I have
Yeah.
fallen several times, and I've sprained my ankle really badly. And because my disease is inflammatory, when
Mm.
I have an injury, it takes a really long time for it to heal. I sprained my ankle really badly. This was like 30 years ago. I was in my 20s, and it took 2 years for the swelling to go down.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and all those little things contribute to the me developing an exercise phobia. So, you know, this is a very, you got to take baby steps when you're you've been in such bad physical condition, you can't just throw yourself into an exercise program because you're going to hurt yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did you do? Okay, so you want to share the craziness about your week?
Yeah, no, well, Sunday night we were in bed and we could hear this stuff going on in the ceiling. I don't know what was going on, but we definitely had a possum, possibly a rat or something had found its way into our ceiling, and it basically chewed through our internet cable. So we lost internet. I didn't know until like the next morning when I tried to log in, because I had our £700 live stream, and I had no internet. So I was able to do it by hotspotting my mobile. So that was okay. But then we were trying to figure out what's going on with our internet. Rang the Aussie and they're like, oh, there's connection to your house. There's no problem on this end. And so then my husband decided to jump into the roof and see what was going on. Maybe this critter had dislodged a wire or something. And in the process, he lost his balance and popped his bottom through the roof. So now I've got a nice cracks and hole in my ceiling in the laundry from next to the manhole where he had his little bit of a trip. But then he found the cable had been chewed completely through. This thing had eaten my internet cable. So it's been a bit of a saga to try and get the pest people in to try and capture, if it's a possum, because they're protected here, there's a cage in the roof that they can, if it gets captured, they go and relocate it to a bushland somewhere else away from my house. If it's a rat, we do have bait in the rat and sensors to sort of detect that, which will notify their office and send people out. We had to get the NBN people in to come and change our roof cables, fix all of that. It was a full process.
Wow.
And then I've got the insurance people for my husband's ceiling butt damage to come in on Friday.
And
so
he's
fine.
Right?
Yeah. Like he was trying to get up there, and he's very short, and the ladder only goes so high, so he has to hoist himself into the ceiling cavity. And I'm like, honey, you're getting old now. I think you better stop, because he's not carnivore, so he's actually suffering a little bit. And I could hear him grunting and groaning. And I'm like, honey, let's just leave it. I'll call somebody in to come and have a look. And he's like, no, I can do it. And he managed to hoist himself up, but then lost his balance and sort of fell back. And his butt went through the ceiling right above the light fixture. So I was standing under the light, and I just heard this great big crunch, and I'm thank God this light didn't fall on my head.
Oh, my word.
Yeah,
that could have been even more disastrous for sure.
Yeah, the light still works. It's just really just sort of hanging down a little bit, and got a lot of cracks in the plaster. So the insurance guy said, we're going to have to replace the whole ceiling.
Wow, man.
Great.
My husband did the same thing. I have a picture somewhere. I don't have it on hand, but we have the big like trash receptacle, the big, bins, and we have the one for trash. We have a green waste. We have a recycle bin, and he decided he was going to get on the roof, and he put two bins next to each other, and then put the ladder on top, one side on top of each bin.
Wow.
And these bins are on wheels. So I walk out, and this is what I see is him on this ladder that's on two bins side by side. I'm like, what on earth? This is why insurance is higher for men.
Yeah. Well, I got accidental cover specifically for this, because my husband is a little bit clumsy and he's broken a few things around the house, and having the accidental cover really helps. But anyway, so that was a saga of my internet. It was about 4 days I had no internet, so I couldn't Get Fit with Rick because I had no internet. So
you couldn't do it,
No, and I didn't have the arm challenge or anything because I don't have them downloaded. I just watch them straight from the internet.
Okay.
I was like, now, well, there goes my plan. I had planned to download the pedometer app so I could record my steps. I couldn't do anything on my phone because I'd used all my data.
Yeah.
It was like they cap your plans, so you go back to like really crappy, slow speeds. So I couldn't upload images, and emails weren't coming through. It was just a real week. So my
Okay. So I
fitness
guess the
challenge.
question is, like, were you able to do some exercise?
Yeah, well, I wasn't home much because I had no internet. Like, that's my life. Without internet, I
Mm.
can't do my work. So I spent most of my time out of the house. So I did a lot of extra walking. I went to the wildlife park, and they've got a beautiful, feeding kangaroos. And I walk around the venue there, feeding kangaroos. And that's a nice little walking track. It's which I can take my own time. So I got some steps in there,
Okay.
doing all that kind of stuff, played with the koalas, and that's my new favorite place. So yeah, I was able to do that. Took my daughter shopping, and we went to the supermarket, and then we went to a large shopping complex. So we did a lot of walking around there. So a lot of walking I wouldn't have done normally,
Yeah.
but just out of the house. So yeah.
And are
Spent
you feeling more steady? Because I know you were talking about how you have been nervous about going out and walking because you've fallen.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah. I'm
are you
feeling a
feeling
lot
more
more confident. Yeah. I still like to have somebody with me. It's like having a security blanket. I need
sure?
my person with me. I don't know. And that's something I'm going to have to get my head around and just say, no, better put my big girl panties on and go for a walk by myself. I really need to do that. And I'm going to try and do that this week. The sun's starting to come out a little bit more. So I feel really happy when the sun's out. We've just been through winter, and it's been cold and gloomy and rainy, and I don't know, I seem to get a bit down,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
coming after Texas and having such amazing weather and this, amazing carnival community, then come back home to silence, no support, beautifully terrible weather. Everything's been really doom and
Oh,
gloom, and I've just felt a little bit lost. But now that the sun's starting to come out, I'm feeling a lot happier. So I'm hoping to
that's
actually just
good.
get out and go for a walk around the block by myself. That's my goal. And if the
Yeah.
sun comes out this week, as soon as I see that sunshine, it's just like I'm a new person. I really feel
Yeah.
so happy when I see the sun. And that's going to make a difference. So that's my plan this week. Now that I've got internet, I really have to knuckle down and catch up for this week that I wasn't able to do anything. So I've downloaded the pedometer. So I'm going to
Okay.
be able to try and count and record my steps this week. This is all the stuff I had planned to do last week. But things happen, life happens, and you just have to
Right.
go with the flow. I didn't beat myself up about it. I can't control
Good.
some critter chewing my cables, and it basically threw my life into turmoil. And
Right.
this weekend I have to work because I need to catch up on all the work I couldn't do through the
Right.
week. So
Right.
I'm kind of a bit behind the eight ball with everything. But Monday morning I'm going to get straight back into it. I'm going to try and do it twice a day. Because it's only 15 minutes, and 15 minutes is 2,000 steps, which is 4,000 steps if I can do it twice a day. So I'm going to try and
Right.
prioritize
Right.
that. Like, it's not a big thing, and it's a big thing in my head, but when you put it into the context of I've got 24 hours in a day, it's not a lot. Half an hour to commit.
It's not. It's not. And I know I'm having less trouble being motivated to do these videos, the Get Fit with Rick videos,
Yeah.
but I still haven't completely overcome the mental part of my exercise
Yeah.
phobia. It's getting there. And I think that these videos are helping, and I'm finding that I'm better now, like with following the steps, and that makes it a lot more fun, is to be able to
Yeah.
follow. I did one of his workouts that was called a Zumba workout, but it really wasn't Zumba. He said, I'm not a Zumba instructor, but it was like Zumba type music, and the steps were a little faster, and it's fun, you know. It's like I'm enjoying it. I did Bruno Mars again because I like to, go back and
Yeah.
yeah. So all right. So we've got listening to podcasts on your walk may help out. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yelly cat. Hello, Lindy.
Oh, hi,
Awesome. Love that
Yoli.
lion. Are you a lioness? Yeah.
So how did you
Awesome.
go this week with your challenge? Were you able to do it every day or?
I did it most days. I didn't do it every day. I'm still struggling with my sleep, and that's been a big. And I've been getting up at a decent hour. So hoping that if I get up early enough, I will be tired enough to go to sleep early. And I have not been successful. I'm usually not
Okay.
getting to sleep until like at least 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And I don't know why. It's driving me crazy. This is the longest period of time I've had with dealing with sleep issues. I've never had sleep issues in my whole life. And I don't know if I'm just like I've got too much energy, but a couple of the days it really, really drained the energy out of me, but I still did something. I did just shorter ones, but I'm really was like wanting to continue to add time to to the length of time that I was doing it. You choosing ones that were longer. And I know
Mhm.
that I know a couple people at Meat Sisters did one that was like an hour. This was last week. And I'm like, I would like to work up to being able to do that.
Yeah.
So it was, I guess the sleep thing is a little setback for me. So I guess in some ways I've had my own little setback this week too, but not as bad as yours. But one cool thing is that, I do my weigh-ins on Mondays with my body composition scale, and uh, I gained a little bit more muscle. So, which is good because my muscle gain, it had just been plateaued for a really long time. Sorry, I got a little tickle here, and I lost another pound of visceral fat.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, and I gained it's been months and months and months since I gained any bone. I gained zero point 0.2 of a pound of bone as well. So my body composition is had a really good improvements with this last
Wow.
weight. Yeah. So,
I actually
uh,
bought the Renfro scale after watching your video because you recommended it, and I've got that, and I hop on it every day, and I have it go into my phone, but I still don't really know how to read it all. And you did a video for me, and
I
I'm
did a
still like,
video.
it goes over my head. I'm just like, maybe we should next week. I can give you my before and after, like what it was when I first got my scale and what it
Yeah.
is now, and we can go through it, and you can talk me through it. So that might be a
Yeah,
nice
we can
little exercise to
we
do.
can absolutely. Yeah, because if there's
Yeah.
any of you out there who use that scale and you don't know how to interpret the metrics, you don't know how to it's really calculating your fat loss or gain, depending on your situation. That is not a number that's just given to you. You have to calculate it. So I do have a
Yeah.
video on my channel showing how to do that with 4 different scenarios. The same formula works. You don't have to do algebra. I make it hopefully a little easier than that. You just have to plug the numbers in. Thank you, Paula. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And Rafaela, I have not tried magnesium. Well, actually, it's been a while since I tried magnesium. I have some magnesium powder, and I was using it for a little while, and it didn't seem to help. So I may need to get clear. In fact, those of you guys who are here who use magnesium, if you have some recommendations on like what type of magnesium you use and how much, I would appreciate any feedback on that because, and I don't know, I was taking double dose of it and it was not helping. So, hi, Julie.
Hi,
Good to see you here.
Julie.
Alabama. All right. So I take 2 before bed. What dosage do you take? Is it two? Is it each tablet like 200 milligrams? So let me know what kind of scale. So it's a Renfo scale. Um, it is not an expensive one. I'll type the brand. It's RANPHO, and it's a smart scale. If I could type, that'd be helpful. You can buy it on Amazon, and there's more than one model. The one that I bought right now is like 20 some bucks, and it's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, amazingly good. So, oh, thank you, Paula. Yeah, muscle and bone. I am serious. So I feel like what we're doing is helping, and I had also the past week I had added the countertop push-ups,
Okay. Yeah.
which they're challenging enough. So I'm wondering if that was helping. So
Yeah.
cat lady, yes,
And
the
then
scale video, yes, is helpful. Hopefully it's helpful. So
we need to remember that muscle weighs more than fat as well. So, you may be losing that weight and the composition may be changing. That scale number is not going to budge. So we've got
yeah,
to
and
keep that in mind as well.
fortunately, I still lost fat too. So
Yeah.
I was pleased. Yeah, I was pleased. I did something a little different, like because I have trouble really like guessing whether or not I'm gonna. I like Sunday night, the night before my weigh-in, I'm like, I don't feel like I've lost weight, or sometimes I'll feel like I've lost weight and I haven't. So this past Sunday night, I actually pre-recorded my guess on whether or not I'd lose. I was so far
Yeah.
off. I thought I wasn't going to lose, and that I was maybe going to gain or stay, and I ended up losing like I think, was it like 3 pounds or close to 3 pounds, something like that. So you just can't tell, right? It's hard to tell sometimes. And here I'd lost the visceral fat, and I can usually tell. So okay, so magnesium glycinate, 240 milligrams. Okay, so 2 of those tablets. That's the kind that I had in powder form. And maybe I'll just get the tablets, give it a try.
Hmm.
Because I'm nervous to take melatonin because of my mast cell disease. And a lot of times it has ingredients in it that I can react to. So I've been avoiding taking melatonin. But fitness wise, we talked last week about steps and trying to get, 7,000. I'd kind of set a goal for myself for 7,000, and there's no way I reached it. Absolutely, there's no way. I was looking at my steps every day, and it looked like I was struggling to get 3 or 4,000. So I'm just not active enough. It's so hard to get out of that sedentary mindset for me,
Yeah.
you know, because I've spent my whole adult life, just my comfort space was sitting, you
Yeah.
know,
And I hear a
and
lot of people, they do exercise for, half an hour or whatever, and they're out there pumping it in the gym. By 10, 15 minutes, I'm really struggling mentally to keep going. Like physically, I could probably keep going, but I'm just like, oh, I've got housework to do. I've got this to do, work to do, emails, and my mind is like buzzing. And that seems to be takes priority over my exercise. Like I
yeah.
can't quieten the noise in my head. I just need to stop it and go and do something else. It's
Mhm.
like I have a very low attention span for exercise and tolerance for it. So I don't know how to tackle that. Um, is that similar to what you're experiencing? Like,
Well, I don't have my to-do list running through my head. Um, I have my comfort zone more in my head. My comfort zone, which is my recliner, where I can sit and crochet, and because that's where I spent so much time.
mm,
And that was my place because I couldn't do anything. And so I haven't been doing this as long as you have. So I'm still I mean, it's been over a year. Like I said, it's been 14 months. So I'm better, but I'm not
mm,
there yet. I still, my default tends to want to get back into my comfort space and my recliner and, you know, crochet or watch something on TV. And so that's a struggle that I have that I'm still working on.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I threw myself more into work because if I sat on the couch, I'd just pass out. I'd be asleep. So
Yeah.
it
See,
wasn't
I
it
don't.
wasn't very comfortable for me. I had a sleep apnea as well. So actually doing
Mhm.
work and I was good at what I did. I enjoyed it. It kept me busy and
Yeah.
it was the only thing that made me feel like I was successful in my life. Apart from that, I felt like a failure as everything else. So my work and being out, talk,
Right.
it was all email based. I have writers and stuff overseas and I'd be talking to them and I felt like a normal person. So I actually really
Yeah.
enjoyed my work and that's what kept me going all this time. If it wasn't
Yeah.
for work, um, I would have lost my mind, honestly. But
Yeah.
that's
Well,
what kept me grounded. Yeah.
I may have been dealing with some depression, and because I mean, and I was working before I had my massive flare that put me out on disability, and I was working as a nurse, but I was working outpatient the last 7 years, and so I was not really very active as a nurse, and a lot of phone work and phone triage and assessing and managing patients over the phone. And even when I was in the office, I wasn't doing a lot with patients, maybe meet with 2 or 3 patients during the day, and that was it. But most of it was over the phone. So, but I remember I felt like that when I was working. I really loved the work. And so that made me feel useful and
Yes.
something I can do. And I did well. Um, but when I went out on disability and I couldn't do anything, that got me into a slump where I had zero energy, and I was afraid to do anything because I was always reacting to stuff, and I was in so much pain all the time. And so yeah, so might have dealt with some depression, definitely dealt with some anxiety, just
Yeah.
fear that, because it's scary when sometimes I'd just be sitting there and my throat would swell and I'd get severe tachycardia and hypertension, and I'd have to call 911. My poor family would be like, when are we going to have to call 911? She seems fine. And the next moment it's an emergency. And that's unnerving. So I think for me, the emotional component of it is still there. And I feel like I need to go a year without a reaction, and maybe I can settle it down, because I think it's been maybe 5 or 6 months since I had a reaction, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you went to Texas and you were okay there. So that was a big trip for you as
Well, I
well.
had one reaction. So actually, no, it hasn't been that long, but it's been like 5 or 6 months since I had a really random reaction that I couldn't pinpoint what happened. In Texas, I did have a reaction. It wasn't throat swelling, but it was more of a gut reaction.
Mm.
But I figured out what it was. I figured out so, but I ended up miserable that one day, where I was just, yeah, my gut was really unhappy. With histamine, there's a lot of histamine. Your gut has tons of histamine receptors in it. And if you've got histamine issues, sometimes it doesn't necessarily always show up, like for me with throat swelling or a systemic response like the tachycardia and the flushing and all of that. It can be really bad abdominal cramping. And that's what happened in Texas. So yeah, I still had a kind of a reaction there. So, okay. So I take a 4-in-1 magnesium capsule 4 times what the packet suggests. Okay. On chiropractor, right? Okay. So 4 types of magnesium. Do you have the brand of that? That would be interesting. So I haven't seen those. So Paula says, I had a 4-egg omelet for my first meal today. At dinner, I had salmon and butter. I'm now craving ice cream, so I'm going to cook some more meat to tackle this. Have you had Dr.
Yeah.
Kills' ice cream?
I haven't, but I couldn't do it. Like if I tried to make it, I wouldn't be able to just eat a small bowl. And I know Dr. Kill says from time to time in just a small bowl. No, Lindy doesn't do small when it comes to ice cream. I want the whole lot. So
Oh, yeah.
I have avoided it.
That was me before, and I've actually made his ice cream twice for Dave. Now I don't put he mentions putting honey in it. I don't put honey in it, but I do put some monk fruit drops in it, and it just barely adds a little sweetness to it. I was really surprised. I did have a little bit, and I was able to stop without any problem. And maybe it's because there isn't the sugar in it, because
Yeah.
heavy cream and egg yolks is basically the ingredients. Then yeah, so I didn't find I had that problem with this particular ice cream.
Right. See, I don't have the cream. I stay away from dairy because it flares up
Yeah.
my lymphedema. So I have in the Meat Sisters, I think somebody actually made an ice cream with the egg coulant, a recipe that I had. But I don't have an ice cream maker now. And I was actually thinking of buying an ice cream maker so I could give it a try because, yeah, with summer coming along, I would love to have ice cream. And my egg coulant has got
Mhm.
no dairy in it. And currently, like I had one from breakfast this morning. There's my NutriBullet cup. I drink it
Okay.
straight out of that. And nice and hot, and it's perfect for winter. But in summer, to change it up, I would love to have it in an ice cream form. And
So
yeah,
so that's egg yolk and butter
and
and
tallow.
tallow.
Tallow,
Right.
yeah. So I use
Okay.
I actually use 3 whole eggs at the moment. That's what I'm doing, and I have it for breakfast every morning, and that keeps me going till dinner time. So that's what I'm having, like a tablespoon of tallow, tablespoon of butter, and then I top it up with hot boiling water from the kettle up to the max line, and then I blitz it in the NutriBullet, and it comes up really nice and frothy. It's very fatty, so this is probably a good sort of a nightcap before bed. I sleep like a
Yeah.
baby after one of these.
Oh,
Sometimes at night time, if I don't want to eat, I find when I go to bed with a heavy tummy, I can't sleep, and I get
okay.
a lot of discomfort because of the lap band. So I'll drink one of these, and the high fat sort of really brings down your cortisol levels. You're nice and relaxed, and then I do like a 10-minute on the vibration plate. So I warm up, I get the blood pumping in my body, the circulation happening, my body warms up because it's freezing here. Jump into bed and I'm out like a light. Absolutely love it.
So
So
I I need to try something like that with the for me for the sleep thing. I have tried just eating some butter, some unsalted butter, but I haven't done it enough to see whether or not it helps. So maybe I need to try and see if that helps.
yeah,
So Paula says I've made his ice cream with no sugar. I liked it, but I discovered that I wasn't addicted to it. So it is clearly the sugar, not the ice cream I'm addicted to. Yeah, I had the same experience. Yeah,
yeah.
because I could eat a half a gallon of ice cream in one sitting before.
I definitely
You
love to
know.
try it with the colada recipe so there's no dairy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, Christy. Good
Hi,
to see you.
Christy.
So yeah, so for this coming week, I want to for my one of my goals is I want to try to increase my time. The most I've done so far is 18 minutes. And so I want to try to keep maybe 18 minutes the minimum that I
Mm-hmm.
do and
Okay.
see if I can increase it and overcome that. I really need to work on overcoming that. That's still the psychological thing that wants to put me back in my recliner because I have plenty of things to do and around the house. And so if I could actually get more steps in by getting busier and doing more things, that would be really good. And it's absolutely beautiful out. I mean, it's summer for us, here in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
US. So it's it's actually really beautiful out, and so I could definitely go for a walk. So, do you remember showed you? Did I show you about geocaching?
You did, yeah. I've got the app, but there's a couple of areas around here, but we haven't investigated any yet because it's too cold. But it's definitely something I want to try out. Yeah, it sounds good.
Yes, that's something you can try is to go
Yeah,
geocaching. When I was really struggling to get out there and to do a little more exercise, that really helped me because I wasn't focusing on the exercise piece. I was focusing on the treasure hunt piece,
yeah.
which,
I think it's a
which made it
great
fun.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
absolutely love it.
found Yeah, and I found that I was walking more than I would have normally because I had something I was searching for. So to me, that's my favorite outdoor activity is to go geocaching.
Yeah,
So, okay, oh, it's in the UK. Okay, but thank you for sharing what the components are. I bet you I can find something that's an equivalent for the US. 1,600 milligrams per serving. Wow. Okay. That's a lot. Okay, wait a minute. 1,600 milligrams per serving, 4 servings per day. Okay. So 162 milligrams. Okay, so the tablets are 162 milligrams. You get 1,600 per milligrams over a day. Is that my understanding? So, okay. All right. Exercise is so boring to me. Kind of like Lindy said, after a few minutes, I just want to run away from it.
yeah.
Yeah, have you tried are the exercises that we're doing, the Get Fit with Rick? It's fun and you could do some short ones, but
Yeah.
I
The
really,
fifth,
I Good.
15-minute one I'm doing, but by 10 minutes my mind's wandering, but I push myself for the whole 15 minutes, so I'm doing okay. But I don't think I could do longer. So I think doing it twice a day is going to be my go-to,
Better.
because then, yeah, I can, after the 15 minutes, I've done it, whatever, I can go and do my thing, do some work, get a few things off my tick list. And then in the afternoon, give it another bash and do another 15 minutes then.
Okay.
So I think breaking it up is going to be doable for me. If I had to commit to doing half an hour in one hit, I won't do it. I know I won't.
So that may be a good option, is to do it like that. Yeah.
So maybe
I may have to try
10
that.
minutes 3 times a day. Like, I could even just, if I'm starting to struggle at 10 minutes, maybe break it down, give it a good workout for 10 minutes. Because in the last 5 minutes, I'm sort of not lifting my legs as much. I'm getting sloppy with it. So I'm not really putting the effort in because my mind is not in it. So maybe 10 good bursts might be another alternative. And I give it my all for that 10 minutes each time I do it. So
yeah. And the Bruno Mars one is only 8 minutes, and it's fun.
Okay.
Fast paced. The Zumba one was fun. But that one was a little bit longer. The Tina Turner one, which I did the previous week, I didn't do that again this week, but I did that, and I'm going to do that again this coming week because that was a really fun one. They even have he even has you doing the Tina Turner move, that she's famous for.
The nut bush.
You go in,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The one where she's, I can't do it on the live stream, but it's her famous move that she did on stage. He has you at the very end doing that, which is fun. So I would definitely recommend if that one. You won't be bored because it's really fast paced. It's a lot of fun.
And we just have to remember we're all at different levels. So don't worry if you can't do an hour or whatever. Like, there's no way I could do it. But there's other people watching that might be able to cope with a whole hour and do a whole hour of exercise and love it. We're all at our different, levels of our journeys. So
Okay. So you haven't tried those. Okay. So they're in the description of the video, his channel. And he's got a lot of stuff to choose from, and he's fun. He's, and it's, and different types of songs and different lengths of videos. So it's definitely I'm enjoying this a lot. And I've been starting to think, we're coming up on our 4th week, thinking, I don't want to stop doing this, but I want to add something else. Like, I'm still dipping in there with the arms, with the arm flab video, and I'm continuing my approach, which is just I'm not even trying to do the whole video in one shot, and just doing as much as I can, and then coming back to it and picking up where I left off. That seems to be working for me.
Yeah, I think the main goal is just to keep it sustainable. If we can try and do something every day, if we can't do the whole workout, we can't do it. But if we can try and do it as often as we can, and it becomes a habit, so we get up and we do our exercise and we start to enjoy it, I think that's the main goal. And then we can always tweak it later and escalate it as we feel better and get on with our journeys.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. So more about magnesium. Okay, 4 servings each day. Okay, so I have a lot of muscle cramps through the night, wake multiple times. I've heard nutritionist Judy says she finds folks with Lyme can have many cramps even when taking loads of electrolytes. Okay, so you have Lyme. Yeah, that's definitely makes it a little more challenging. I'm going to give the magnesium a try. I don't have issues with the muscle cramping, but I do use electrolytes. And so but it's the sleep. Oh. My husband's like your husband. Like, my husband gets up at 1:45 in the morning, and he'll be like, "You're still up?" Like, because I try to go to bed, and then I just lay there, and I
don't know, like, because it's summer, it's difficult. Like, for me, if I was to have a nice hot shower and then hop into bed, that's if I have got a lot of energy, that will sort of drain some of the energy. I feel nice and snug and warm, and then I can hop into bed. But being summer, you don't want to be having a hot shower, and a cold shower is just going to wake you up, isn't it? So,
Oh, yeah, I
yeah,
don't want that, and I
yeah,
we did have a few cool days last week, and when it was in the low 60s, which for summer, I mean, it's Washington State, so for us, we don't tend to get super warm, but low 60s was kind of unusually cool. So I did take a hot bath with Epsom salts, um, 2 nights, hoping that it would help, and it didn't.
I didn't. Oh,
No, it
okay.
didn't. So I may have to try the magnesium, and I definitely am gonna try maybe the butter to get the fat, it
Yeah.
and get the screens away. And because I really want to be able to not feel like I'm dragging during the day. And I feel like this week affected me more than last week. And so I want to be able to have good energy so that when I choose like which video, I'm not afraid to choose a 20-minute video if I want to. I can go ahead
Yeah.
and choose one. Yeah. So, the challenges. But it's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
It is, and I think we're doing really well so far. Like, apart from the last week of mine, but I hope to ramp it up again this week and get back on track. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
I think we're doing good. And I watched a little video about balance because I know that we talked last week a little bit about balance, and I've had balance issues as well. Um, I have a vestibular conduction disorder in my left side, and so like the sensory inputs coming in from the left and the right are different, and they meet up and they scramble in my brain, and which causes some dizziness. And so I've struggled with balance. My daughter jokes at me and tells me I could not pass a sobriety test, you know, with zero alcohol in my system. So
wow,
yeah, I have to say my balance has gotten a lot better since I've been exercising. Like it's this one thing, like are you afraid to exercise because you have balance issues, but the exercise will help your balance issues.
yes, yeah,
So you just have
we,
to do it safely,
yeah,
but I watched some physical therapist. He said the best thing you can do if you do one thing, the best thing you can do is stand on one leg, shift your weight over to whatever leg you're standing on, hold on to something, and then just move your head from side to side. And then you do it also, then you close your eyes and move your head from side to side. And you do that, like, 15 seconds on each leg. And he said, you just keep practicing that. And then if you can do it without holding on, great. But I need to do that because I think that's going to help.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I haven't heard of that. That's probably a good one to send my way as well. I'll have a
It's
look at that one.
yeah, it's good, and it's very easy to do. And I know
Mm,
it was a good reminder for me because with my sprained ankles, um, I that's what I did to help strengthen my ankle because what it does is like when you lose your signaling to your brain for your ankles to stabilize you, like when and if you're unstable,
yeah,
you lose your signaling to your brain to react and stabilize you. And you want
yeah,
your ankles to be able to and your legs to be able to stabilize you if you start to lose, your steadiness. But you gotta retrain that signaling, and that's what the closing the eyes does, is it actually
right.
helps it to retrain. And it really worked when I had my sprained ankle because I would roll my ankle on a little pebble, and it was so frustrating. So here I was back then, it was like I was in my 20s, 30s, and I'm like watching the ground scooting along like an old person because I'm so afraid I'm going to step on a little crack or a little pebble and sprain my ankle again.
Yeah.
It works, but
Yes. It's like
yeah.
taking lots of little steps. We're kind of shuffling along and we're not lifting our feet either. So I find if
Yeah.
the ground's not steady, like flat, it's easy for me to trip on just a little bump in or if the ground's a bit dicey. So I need to work on that.
Yeah. In fact, this
Mm.
therapist talks about how people will do that shuffle. And
Yeah, because it's
he
safe.
Yeah, and he said that of all of the different balance exercises out there, the research shows that this is really the only one that really helps. And he said that it's so important to shift your weight over to your leg that you're balancing on, because the root cause of shuffling and the falling is uncertainty that you can stand on one leg, because you got to stand on one leg as you take a step, right?
Yeah.
So each step you've got for a moment, you're on one leg. And so he says, when you train your brain to feel really steady and to strengthen your ability to stand on each side, your stride is going to get better.
Yeah.
So it
I
makes
also find my left side is a lot stronger than my right, especially if I'm taking a step. If I need to do a large step up, I can't go right first foot. I have to always go left foot because do
yes.
you have that too?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Same side?
Same side. Yes.
Wow.
And when I go down steps, I have to go down together, down together. I can't
Yes.
go down and then down the next and then down the next. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So those are some things that
Wow.
we need to work on, because that's going to help.
You
You
do.
can't be, yeah, you can't really push yourself too much further if you're still like unstable and walking like an old person.
Yeah, a few times I will try and do that, but then I get that pain in my hip as well, so that's why I take it going down
Mhm.
one at a time, because I'm scared that
Yeah.
my hip is just gonna collapse under me, and then I'll just end up falling down the rest. So I always hold the banister when I'm going down, and I do the one step at a time. So it's
Oh,
a bit
yeah.
embarrassing. My husband, he understands, and he's really good with it. He just takes it slowly as I'm going
Yeah.
down. But you always have
Oh,
some idiot in the back sort of thinking, "What are you
yeah.
doing?"
My
And so
daughter, my daughter's always worried about me with stairs, and I've fallen going upstairs. I fortunately have not fallen going downstairs, but she's finally better now, because I think I'm more stable. But she would not, like, if we had stairs to go down, she was always in front of me, because she
yeah.
was afraid, like, she wanted to make sure that, like, if I fell, that she was watching me the whole time, like, as if she could catch me. She's like barely 5'3", you know. And I was like 350 pounds. Like, I'm just going to hurt you. So let's see. I was interested that serving is not necessarily a good guide. Oh, the serving, yeah, of the magnesium can increase past suggestions till it feels comfortable with consultation if possible. Yeah, and I've got a naturopathic doctor, so if I felt with the magnesium that I was might be taking too much, I definitely ask him if it's safe. I know it was
Yeah.
the same way with a lot of medications, like over the counter medications. Like when I was working as a GI nurse, we had people, and of course now I wouldn't recommend that, but we had people on like really higher doses of H2 blockers and proton pump inhibitors. And, we'd have patients that would say, but, the package says, you can only take this much per day and only for 2 weeks. But yet the doctor's telling me to take, double that amount for 6 months or a year. And I would just, explain, well, the package says that because if it doesn't work with this dose in the next 2 weeks, you need to go to the doctor and figure out if there's something else going on. So it's
Wow.
probably the same. Yeah, it's probably the same thing with the magnesium and the different supplements. Is they're probably like, they err on the side of being conservative. So, oh, look who
Yeah.
we have. Hey, Todd.
Hey, Todd.
Good to see you. Todd, are you exercising? Are you getting your walks in? Let us know. I know when we were in Texas, Todd was telling me that he was feeling good because his stamina was improving and, doing better with the heat. That was him and I. We were kind of simpatico at the beginning, very nervous about the heat because heat intolerance is real. And we
Yeah,
were both,
he's doing
yeah, we were both,
amazing. Yeah, he's got
yeah.
the
Oh, I know.
rebounder
I
now.
mean, he mentioned that he had, since Texas, he's lost another over 50 pounds.
Yeah, he's going great guns. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find him when we go pick him up from the
Like,
airport in
where'd you
November. I'm just
go?
like, "Where'd Todd go?" Yeah,
Come
he's gonna
on.
be
It's
tiny.
like, yeah, where's Todd? I see a hat with the thin body underneath it.
Yeah, the hat's gonna give it away. Not for the
Yeah,
hat.
we're gonna
You
have to
won't.
identify Todd by the hat, nothing else.
Yeah.
So no, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So I know I've lost about maybe 15 pounds since Texas, which I'm happy with. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really happy.
I've plateaued. I'm currently just still at the same weight, probably,
Yeah.
I think 2 kilos heavier. So, but that's
Well,
okay.
you know, when we were in Texas, you seemed surprised that I mentioned that I think you're smaller than me, and you were like, "No, I'm not." You know,
No.
what I meant is that I can tell that structurally you're smaller than me. That you're shorter than me, and I can tell that structurally you're smaller boned than I am.
Mm,
And so you have a lot of extra skin, right? So
yeah.
who knows? There may not be a whole lot left for you to lose once
I
you
don't
lose your
know.
skin.
That was so hard to hear because the first thing Raymond said to me was, "You're so small, Lindy." And I have never been called small in my life before. And I'm like, where's
You
this
just
coming
balked at
from?
me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
you
then,
were like, "Don't call me small."
yeah, then you said it. And I'm just like, what's going on here? Two people now have told me I'm small. And I've never been called small. It was a bit of a mind for me. I couldn't get my head around it. And someone else said it the other day, and I'm just like, well, who are you talking to? They're obviously not talking to me because I've always been the largest one. I've always been the largest
Right.
in the room. And it's just so hard to hear that. And I don't know whether, I like it, but I can't get my head
Your
around it.
brain, yeah, your
It
brain
doesn't
just
compute.
rejects it. Your brain just rejects it for sure. I was like, yeah, I could see it instantly. As soon as I said that, you're like, no, that can't be true.
No,
So
it's
Todd says
very
you're doing a lot
hard.
of
Yeah.
exercise. Oh, building a gym in the garage right now, actually. Nice. Excellent. So that's good because then you can work out in the wintertime.
Mm.
Montana has long winters.
Yeah, I can imagine it'd be quite cold. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So good. Well, that's great. I think it's good that, we have once we if we all can get together again and it'll be interesting to see everybody and see if, those of us who still have weight to lose are losing more weight. That's excellent. So Christy says congrats to Todd. Yeah. That's awesome. I know I could tell at the meeting on Tuesday that Todd looks thinner.
Oh, every
And
time I see Todd, he's looking amazing. You can really,
yeah,
yeah, doing great, Todd.
hot. Oh, 97. Ouch. Yeah, that is way too hot for sure. Yeah. So you need to stay in the air conditioning. Yeah. See, it's like 82 degrees here, but it was really humid. So it felt a little warmer than that. And you know, I don't know how I'd do if I was in Texas all the time, because I did okay in Texas with my heat intolerance, but I don't know. I also gained like 5 pounds while I was there. At least I wasn't sure, but I thought it might be my scale, but my scale was up like 5 pounds and I had only been
Mm.
there for maybe 4 days. And so I don't know if I was swollen from the heat or what it was, but
Yeah, well,
anyway,
that happens with me. I get very swollen when it's hot. So,
yeah,
but I'm getting better as I'm losing the weight. It's not as obvious, not as extreme as it used to be. So I'm actually
yeah,
looking forward to summer. And I was great in Texas. I didn't have an issue. Enjoyed the heat. All I found out in Texas is I'm not as fat as I thought I was because everything went straight through me. So I fasted pretty much most of Texas. We'd go out and
yeah,
I just really just sort of ate like a little bird and fasted some of my meals because I just couldn't tolerate it. And now I'm back here and I'm eating meat and I'm fine again. So I just think it's a
yeah.
lot fattier in Texas. They cut a lot of the fat off here. So
Yeah, yeah, we want the fat. So you could live in Texas in the winter and Washington in the summer. Yeah, my oldest daughter lives in Texas, and I've I've been there, in August to go and visit, and oh my goodness, it was hot. And I mean, we tease that the mosquito is the state bird for Texas, so it's like not really, not a big fan of the bugs either. But yeah, if the wintertime would probably be better. Although Texas has some weird weather, like they have, it can get like in the same day, it can be warm and then it can be really freezing cold. It's just strange.
Oh, that's like here in Melbourne. We have 4 seasons in one day. That's what we're known for.
Oh
So you have to
wow,
dress in layers because one minute you're freezing and then the sun's out and it's
yeah,
beautiful. So you have to
yeah.
dress in lots of layers here.
So one of the things I need to do, I had set a goal, a fitness goal for to do a 5K, not to
Mhm.
run, but to complete a 5K.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I'm getting to be, it's now August, so I think that I need to hold myself accountable and I need to sign up for one. So I will this week, I will seek out a 5K that I can sign up for.
Mhm.
And that's going to be one of those things that I'm going to accomplish. And I have only two. I had set 5 non-scale goals at the beginning of this year, and so far I've met 3 of the 5. And so the only 2 I have left are to do the 5K and to fly in Dave's airplane. So because I wasn't able to fit in his plane. So, and if any of you don't know me very well or you're new, so September 3rd, have been married 34 years. My husband was flying when I met him, and I have never flown with him ever.
Wow. That'll be a
And
lovely
now,
anniversary present. 34
oh,
years.
yeah. And so we haven't always owned an airplane during all that time, but we have owned an airplane for probably 8 years now, maybe. And I have never been able to fly with him. And even when he was just renting airplanes, I, yeah, I didn't fly with him and I couldn't fit. And I know now that I can actually get into his airplane because I tried that a few months ago. I can actually get in. And so I think probably within the month, I'll probably do my first flight with him.
Oh,
And
can't wait. You're going to video it, I hope.
record it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
He's got a buddy who, we were telling him about this goal of mine, and is a flying buddy, and he was shocked that I'd never flown with him. And he wants to come and he wants to film the takeoff, and the getting in and then, going out and taking off. And, I'll film, and I'll definitely film while I'm up there with him. But he also knows a guy who does aerial photography and videography,
Mhm.
and does a beautiful, beautiful job. Has a website full of all of his work, and I'm assuming he gets published and stuff. But I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe it'd be kind of cool to ask him if he would do that, because he has to then go up in his plane and kind of go alongside us and
Oh,
film.
that'd be amazing. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. That's a lot to ask someone to do, but I want him to fly me over to Orcas Island, which is my favorite island of the Puget Sound, the San Juan Islands, the Puget Sound area where I live. And so we'll see. Maybe we'll do that. And I'm a little nervous. I have never flown in a small airplane, but I trust him and I know he's a fantastic pilot. So it's
They're
just
wonderful goals. I love your goals. So, yeah.
yeah. So yeah. So when we go, and I can tie this into the whole walking thing too, because when we go there, we've got, they do have a loaner car for the pilots, but it's not always available. But we want to walk around a lot. And so it's a wonderful, beautiful place. And there's also a really great lookout that you have to go way, way high up, and then you have to hike up this hill. So I want to be able to do that as well.
Oh,
And
good.
not be huffing and puffing like crazy. So,
Yeah. No, we definitely continue on with this walk fitness challenge for sure. We'll keep doing the walking, and if you like, yeah, we'll escalate it and do something else next month as well.
Yeah.
But I
I think it's
do want to keep doing the walking. I'm really enjoying this.
me too.
Mm.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that I want to maybe continue to do, the walking and then figure out some exercises to help with just the flab, the flabby body parts that need to firm up a little bit, you know. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to
I'm not
having some
expecting,
help in that
yeah,
department. So I've got my
yeah.
appointment with the surgeon at the end of the month. So looking forward to that. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, you'll have to let us know how that goes. And I'm not expecting to have this, rockin' body or anything. It's just I just feel like I want to be strong. And
yeah,
it's really important to be strong. I mean, we're both in our 50s and it'd be great if the 60s we'd be thriving in our, in
yeah,
our and I've got
yeah,
4 years, 3.5, almost three, a little over 3.5 years to go before I'm 60. So it's like that's doable
mm,
to be able to actually be, in decent shape and strong. So
exactly.
yeah. So I guess we need to make sure we're lifting things that are heavy. Don't be afraid to lift something heavy as long as you're doing it ergonomically well. But the counter push-ups are really, I think, helpful. So
Okay, nice. All right.
So I'm going to keep doing those. So, all righty. Well, I guess we should probably wrap it up for today. And I'm glad you got your internet back.
Yes, all good. So
And
plans to
yeah,
jump on board again and really have a good week. Finish off the month with a bang. So
absolutely. So we'll plan on next week spending a little bit of time going over your metrics from your scale.
yeah, excellent.
And maybe that'll help other people who use scales. And it doesn't have to be just the Renfo scale. Any smart scale. It's you have to know how to do just a simple calculation, and you can figure
Perfect.
out your fat loss. So,
Excellent. Oh,
all right,
excited.
yeah. Well,
All
thank you
right.
everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you haven't joined Meat Sisters, you can join Meat Sisters, the Facebook group, and join in on our chat. And so you kind of post. I haven't been posting as much as I did at the beginning, but jump in there and post and share what we're doing. And if you want to follow Lindy, she's at Limitless Lindy. It's her YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Midlife Carnivore.
Yes.
So awesome. We will see you guys next week.
Have a great week,
Have a
everyone.
wonderful week.